Have you ever paused in the middle of your busy day and wondered, is this all there is? The deadlines, the worries, the constant noise. Sometimes life moves so fast that our minds can't catch up, leaving us scattered, restless, and longing for a quiet place within ourselves. But imagine, just for a moment, that beneath all this noise lies a doorway, a path that leads you into a state where nothing feels heavy, where your thoughts are calm and your heart finally feels free. What if that peaceful state isn't something distant or mystical, but something you can cultivate step by step, starting today? Welcome to Zen Buddhism, dear traveler of the inner world. In this sacred space, we explore wisdom that has guided countless seekers toward inner clarity and soulful transformation. And today, we begin one of the most profound journeys of all, the timeless path to Nirvana. Nirvana is often spoken of like a faraway heaven, wrapped in mystery and ancient legends. But in truth, it is a real and reachable experience, a deep inner peace where suffering loosens its grip, where the storms inside us finally settle, and where wisdom becomes our everyday companion. In this video, we'll walk together through 8 powerful steps, each one a gentle yet transformative practice that brings you closer to that radiant stillness within. These aren't abstract ideas or unreachable ideals. They are living, breathing practices you can weave into your daily life, no matter where you are on your spiritual path. So take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, and allow your mind to soften. You're about to enter a journey that reconnects you with your truest self, a journey toward inner peace, awakening, and boundless freedom. Let's step onto the path to Nirvana together. Before we take our first step forward, let us pause and understand the very heart of what we seek. Nirvana, often spoken of in hushed voices and wrapped in ancient mystery, is not merely an idea or a brief spark of joy. It is a profound transformation of the inner world, a freedom so deep that the noise of life can no longer shake the peace within. The teachings of the Buddha describe Nirvana as the extinguishing of the inner fires, the burning restlessness of desire. To understand this path, we must first understand ourselves. Life, as we experience it, is always changing. People change, circumstances shift, emotions rise and fall. Our suffering doesn't come from the world outside, but from how deeply we cling to what cannot stay. Nirvana is the release from this exhausting cycle. It is not about running away from the world, but awakening within it. It is about seeing life clearly. Picture yourself standing at the very center of a storm. The winds swirl, the world shouts and spins, yet in that tiny center, everything is still, silent, absolutely clear. That silent center is what Nirvana feels like. The chaos does not disappear, but it no longer controls you. You remain steady, peaceful, unshaken. As we begin exploring the steps that lead toward this awakened state, remember this: the path is not a straight line or a checklist. It is a gradual unfolding, a deepening of understanding and presence. With each step, a new layer of clarity emerges. With each insight, the storm within quiets a little more, and slowly, gently, you begin to return to the calm center of your own being, where true peace has always been waiting. Now that we understand the essence of Nirvana, our journey naturally turns inward to a step that quietly transforms everything: the practice of self-reflection. This is where the real exploration begins, not in distant temples or sacred mountains, but within the landscapes of our own minds and hearts. Self-reflection is the gentle art of looking within with honesty and curiosity. It is the moment we stop running, stop numbing ourselves with distractions, and finally sit face to face with our own thoughts, emotions, and intentions. It's not about judging ourselves or forcing change. It's about discovering who we truly are beneath the layers of habit and noise. On the path toward nirvana, self-awareness becomes our compass. Without understanding the inner patterns that pull at us, our cravings, our fears, our old wounds, we remain caught in cycles we don't even realize we're repeating. Self-reflection shines a light on these hidden patterns, revealing the roots of suffering that quietly influence our choices and reactions. Think of it as placing a clear mirror in front of your inner world, not to criticize your reflection, but to see it with compassion. When we look inward with openness, we begin to notice the subtle tensions we carry, the stories we tell ourselves, the emotions we suppress, and the attachments that silently shape our lives. So how do we begin this inner journey? Through the simple and profound practices of mindfulness and meditation. By sitting in stillness, breathing deeply, and watching our thoughts rise and fall like waves, we learn to witness the mind rather than be controlled by it. This clarity becomes fertile soil, where insight grows, where peace begins to bloom. In these quiet moments of observation, we often meet parts of ourselves we have avoided. Insecurities, regrets, old pain, unfulfilled desires. Confronting them can feel uncomfortable, even vulnerable. But it is exactly here, within the shadows we fear, that our greatest breakthroughs lie. Growth emerges when we stop hiding from ourselves. Self-reflection is not a quest for perfection. It is an act of kindness toward our own humanity. Through this inward gaze, we begin to understand that our thoughts and emotions are temporary visitors, not our identity. We are not the storm. We are the sky in which the storm appears and eventually fades. This realization is freeing. It loosens the chains of suffering and draws us closer to the stillness of nirvana. As we move forward on this spiritual journey, remember that self-reflection is not a single moment. It is a lifelong conversation with your inner self. With every insight, the path becomes clearer. With every moment of awareness, the light of wisdom grows brighter. And it is this light that gently guides us toward awakening. With the inner groundwork of self-reflection established, our journey naturally leads us to two core practices that shape the entire path toward awakening: mindfulness and meditation. These practices are not just techniques, they are the living rhythm, the very heartbeat of the quest for nirvana. Through them, we learn to see clearly, breathe deeply, and return to the quiet center of our being. Mindfulness, returning to the present moment. Mindfulness is the gentle art of coming home to the now. It invites us to slow down and become fully aware of life as it unfolds, without rushing, without clinging, without pushing anything away. It is the simple yet profound skill of allowing each moment to be exactly as it is. Whether you're listening to the rustle of leaves, drinking a warm cup of tea, or feeling your chest rise and fall with each breath, mindfulness turns ordinary experiences into gateways of presence. What was once overlooked becomes sacred. But mindfulness isn't just about noticing, it's about understanding. As we grow more present, we begin to see the mind's habits more clearly. The automatic reactions, the stories we repeat, the emotions that flare up without warning. And within this clarity comes a newfound freedom, a choice. Instead of reacting blindly, we can respond with calmness, balance, and compassion. This shift is revolutionary. It breaks the chains of old patterns and opens the door to inner peace. Meditation, the inner sanctuary. If mindfulness is the act of noticing life, meditation is the art of resting deeply within it. It offers a sacred space where we can step out of the constant motion of the world and listen to the quiet truth inside us. Sitting in stillness, whether focusing on the breath, repeating a mantra, or practicing loving kindness, allows the mind to settle, like muddy water becoming clear. In that clarity, we begin to glimpse our true nature, spacious, peaceful, untouched by the storms of thought. In meditation, the noise of the ego begins to soften. We learn to watch emotions rise and fall without getting swept away. We discover the vast presence behind every thought, a presence that is calm, infinite, and deeply alive. It is in these depths of silence that we sometimes experience a soft glimpse of nirvana, a taste of the boundless freedom and serenity that lies at the end of the spiritual path. Integrating the practice into daily life. When mindfulness and meditation weave into our everyday routines, life itself becomes a spiritual practice. Walking, cooking, speaking, resting, every moment becomes an opportunity to awaken. This is not escape from reality. It is the most intimate engagement with it. Through these practices, we learn to meet the world with openness rather than resistance, with presence rather than distraction, with wisdom rather than fear. So I invite you to walk beside me, breath by breath, as we embrace mindfulness and meditation not just as techniques, but as companions on this sacred path. Together, let us explore the extraordinary transformation that begins the moment we choose to be fully present. As our journey toward nirvana deepens, we arrive at one of the most transformative practices on the path, learning to release our grip on desire. This step is often misunderstood, yet it holds the key to profound inner freedom. Detachment is not a rejection of life's beauty. It is not about denying joy, avoiding love, or suppressing emotions. Instead, it is the wisdom of seeing the temporary nature of all things and choosing to meet life without the chains of expectation. Desire itself is not the enemy. The real source of suffering lies in our insistence that life must unfold exactly the way we want, at the time we want, in the shape we want. When we cling to outcomes, when we demand permanence from things that are fleeting, we create tension, fear, and dissatisfaction. Detachment invites us into a different way of living, one where we can enjoy the world deeply, but without holding it so tightly that we break our own peace. It teaches us to love without trying to possess, to appreciate without needing to control, and to experience joy without fearing its end. The practice begins gently. During meditation and mindful awareness, we start noticing the desires that arise within us, the wants, the expectations, the cravings for comfort or recognition or certainty. Instead of judging these impulses, we simply observe them. We ask ourselves, does this desire nourish me, or does it disturb my peace? Does it lead me toward freedom or deeper into restlessness? Over time, this soft inquiry weakens the grip of attachment. We begin to sense a quiet contentment that doesn't depend on circumstances, a kind of peace that is not shaken by gains or losses, praise or criticism, beginnings or endings. And here lies the beautiful paradox. When we loosen our hold on life, life opens itself more fully to us. We participate more completely, love more honestly, and live more vividly, because we're no longer operating from fear or lack. We're simply present, available, and free. Detachment from desire is not withdrawal from the world. It is the doorway into a richer, more compassionate engagement with it. In this spaciousness, the seeds of genuine happiness begin to grow, nourished by wisdom, supported by clarity, and illuminated by the soft glow of inner freedom. As our journey into the essence of nirvana unfolds, we now reach a step that transforms not only our own lives, but the lives of everyone around us. The practice of compassion and kindness. These qualities are not simply admirable traits. They are the living expression of an awakened heart, the gentle wings that carry us toward higher spiritual understanding. Compassion, in its purest form, is the ability to feel the suffering of another as if it were our own, accompanied by the sincere wish to ease that suffering. It arises from recognizing the deep connection that exists between all beings. When one person hurts, a part of the world hurts with them. In our pursuit of nirvana, compassion dissolves the illusion of separateness created by ego, reminding us that we are threads woven into the same fabric of existence. This practice begins within. Before we can truly open our hearts to others, we must learn to extend understanding and softness toward ourselves. By acknowledging our own struggles and offering ourselves patience and tenderness, we build the inner strength needed to empathize with others. As our hearts soften toward our own pain, they naturally expand to include the suffering around us, and compassion flows effortlessly. Kindness is the outward expression of this compassionate heart. It is the simple yet powerful act of bringing warmth into the world through a gentle word, a thoughtful gesture, or a moment of genuine attention. Kindness doesn't wait for someone to deserve it. It is a spontaneous offering from a heart that understands the shared fragility of all beings. Through acts of kindness, we begin to dissolve the invisible walls that separate us. We learn to look beyond appearances and recognize the inherent dignity and worth within each person. This embodies the spirit of the bodhisattva, the one who seeks enlightenment, not for their own benefit alone, but for the liberation of all beings. As compassion and kindness become woven into our everyday actions, something remarkable happens. The peace we cultivate inside radiates outward, creating ripples that touch far more lives than we will ever know. Each smile, each act of patience, each moment of empathy becomes a small reflection of the nirvana we seek, offering healing to the world while illuminating our own path forward. Let us carry compassion and kindness with us as sacred companions on this journey. By opening our hearts to the struggles of others and responding with sincerity and love, we not only ease the world's suffering, but also move closer to the profound liberation that awaits us. Together, guided by these radiant qualities, we continue our journey toward awakening, peace, and ultimate freedom. As we continue walking the sacred path toward nirvana, we come face to face with one of the most profound pillars of spiritual growth: ethical living. This is far more than a list of rules or moral restrictions. It is a conscious way of being. It invites us to live in harmony with compassion, kindness, and wisdom. Ethical living becomes the very foundation upon which a life of integrity, purpose, and enlightenment is built. At its heart, ethical living means making choices that honor the dignity of all beings. It begins with understanding the deep interconnectedness between every form of life and recognizing that our actions, no matter how small, ripple outward into the world. This awareness encourages us to let our thoughts, speech, and behavior arise from compassion rather than craving, confusion, or selfish desire. Most spiritual traditions, including Buddhism, express these principles through precepts, gentle moral guidelines that help us stay aligned with what is wholesome. They remind us to refrain from harmful actions, such as taking life, stealing, speaking falsely, or clouding our mind with intoxicants. By living in accordance with these precepts, we create the inner harmony necessary for deeper spiritual insight. Bringing ethical living into our daily routines doesn't require dramatic change. It begins with simple, mindful pauses. Before speaking, acting, or deciding, we can ask ourselves, Does this choice support kindness? Does it ease suffering? Does it respect life? Often, the most powerful transformations come from choosing patience over anger, generosity over greed, truthfulness over deception, and understanding over judgment. Ethical living also extends to the way we relate to the environment. It calls us to live sustainably, honor the Earth's resources, and care for all creatures who share our world. Every mindful choice deepens our spiritual roots while contributing to a more compassionate and balanced planet. Ultimately, ethical living becomes inseparable from the journey toward nirvana. When we act with virtue, we gradually purify the mind, dissolving greed, hatred, and delusion, the very forces that keep us bound to suffering. As our actions grow more aligned with compassion, our inner world becomes quieter, clearer, and more peaceful. In that stillness, we experience a glimpse of nirvana itself. As we continue forward, let ethical living be our guiding lantern, a steady light illuminating the path of awakening. Through living with integrity and compassion, we not only move closer to the boundless peace of nirvana, but we also inspire others to awaken their own hearts and walk their own path toward liberation. As we journey further along the sacred path toward nirvana, we encounter the radiant twin guides of wisdom and understanding. These are not mere intellectual achievements, but profound awakenings that pierce through illusion and reveal the true nature of existence. Wisdom and understanding become the very eyes through which we perceive impermanence, interconnectedness, and the delicate fabric of life. They lead us away from the cycles of suffering and gently usher us toward the heart of enlightenment. The light of wisdom. Wisdom in this profound spiritual context is an inner illumination born from direct experience, contemplation, and stillness. It is not something that can be memorized or borrowed from books. Instead, it blossoms when we recognize the fundamental truths that shape our lives. Everything is impermanent. Craving cannot bring lasting fulfillment. And the self we cling to is ever-changing and without fixed essence. The journey toward wisdom begins with curiosity and openness. It requires the courage to question long-held beliefs about who we are and how the world works. As we peel away layers of illusion, we start seeing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with clarity. In this clarity, we begin to notice the subtle patterns of desire and aversion that keep us bound to suffering. With each insight, we loosen their hold and move closer to the peace and liberation of nirvana. The role of understanding. Understanding is the gentle companion of wisdom, a deep knowing of how conditions, choices, and causes shape our experience. It is the realization that nothing exists independently and that every action ripples across the web of life. This awareness naturally gives rise to compassion, empathy, and a profound sense of shared humanity. True understanding also reveals the transformative power inherent in every moment. Just as our past has shaped us, we have the ability to shape our future through mindful and intentional living. With this recognition, we become the architects of a life rooted in balance, harmony, and spiritual growth, integrating wisdom and understanding into daily life. Bringing these qualities into our everyday lives is an ongoing, gentle practice. It means returning again and again to the present moment, observing our thoughts and experiences without resistance or judgment. It means applying our insights to meet challenges with calmness, clarity, and equanimity. As we embody these qualities more deeply, we naturally become sources of light for others. Our presence, our choices, and our way of living inspire those around us to begin their own inner journey of awakening. Embracing wisdom and understanding transforms our path to nirvana from a distant aspiration into a living, breathing experience. Every insight, every mindful step brings us closer to realizing our true nature and the boundless peace at the core of existence. Let us continue forward with these luminous guides lighting our way, trusting that each moment of awareness carries us nearer to the ultimate liberation of nirvana. As we near the culmination of our journey toward nirvana, we arrive at a crucial realization. The path is not complete until its teachings are woven into the rhythm of our everyday lives. This final step, integration, is what transforms spiritual understanding into lived reality. It is the moment when enlightenment becomes not just an idea or aspiration, but a living, breathing expression of who we are. Here, the wisdom we once explored on the meditation cushion extends outward into the world, reminding us that nirvana is not a distant realm, but a state of being that can infuse every moment of our existence. Mindful living, the art of presence. The first pillar of this integration is mindful living, the practice of inhabiting each moment with full awareness and presence. It means carrying the mindfulness we cultivate in meditation into every activity: walking, eating, working, speaking, and listening. Even the smallest task becomes sacred. When we wash the dishes, we are not merely cleaning utensils, we are practicing presence. When we drink tea, we are not simply quenching thirst, we are honoring the moment. By immersing ourselves fully in whatever we do, we transform ordinary routines into opportunities for awakening. Compassionate interaction, extending kindness in every encounter. A second essential element is bringing compassion into all our interactions. This means meeting each person with empathy, understanding, and goodwill. Every individual we encounter carries dreams, struggles, and stories we may never know. By choosing words that uplift instead of harm, gestures that heal instead of divide, we contribute to a world rooted in respect and unity. Kindness becomes not just a virtue, but a reflection of our inner transformation, an outward expression of the compassion we have cultivated within. Ethical choices, aligning actions with values. Integration also calls us to live ethically, making choices that reflect our commitment to non-harm and virtue. This can show up in the food we consume, the products we support, how we conduct our work, and the way we care for the environment. Every choice becomes more than a decision. It becomes a message. It becomes a testament to our understanding that all life is interconnected and that our actions ripple outward into the world. Wisdom in action, navigating life's challenges with insight. Finally, true integration means applying our wisdom to the challenges and uncertainties of life. It empowers us to remain steady and centered, even when storms arise. With clarity and insight, we meet difficulties not with fear or reactivity, but with patience, openness, and understanding. This is wisdom in action, the ability to respond to life not from impulse, but from alignment with our deepest truths. The continuous journey. Integration is not a destination, but an ongoing process. It is a lifelong unfolding, a constant refinement, a steady deepening, a gentle evolution. Every day offers new lessons, new opportunities to embody the teachings, and new ways to infuse our lives with meaning and presence. In truth, the path to nirvana is not separate from the life we live. It is woven into our choices, our interactions, our thoughts, and our breath. As we close this chapter of our journey, let us embrace the integration of these teachings as the fullest expression of our spiritual awakening. By living mindfully, acting with compassion, choosing ethically, and applying wisdom in all we do, we not only transform our own inner world, we become catalysts for the awakening of others. Together, let us step into each new day with intention, to live fully, to love deeply, and to shine the light of our inner truth upon every path we walk. As we part ways for now, I invite you to carry these teachings gently within your heart. Let the wisdom we've explored together become a steady light, guiding you through both the joys and the challenges that life unfolds before you. Every insight you practice, every moment of compassion you embody, becomes a step toward deeper peace. And as this light grows within you, share it freely. When we pass wisdom to others, we strengthen our own understanding and help illuminate a world that is so deeply in need of kindness, clarity, and awakening. Thank you for walking this transformative path with us here at Buddha's Wisdom. If today's journey offered you comfort, inspiration, or insight, I invite you to subscribe and continue exploring with us. Together, we will dive deeper into the timeless teachings of mindfulness, compassion, and spiritual awakening. Until we meet again, may you remain peaceful, grounded, and filled with strength.